So here it is, another adventure of this YouTube channel, one in which, like the other things that we're doing here, we're trying to bring you the highest quality content that we can bring. This is called the GB Transfer Show, and of course it's going to be dealing with the transfer stories, the biggest ones in January. We're going to bring guests because we want to find out the inside stories, but also how things happen. So we want to hear from agents, from directors, from fans as well, but generally it will be very well connected people. I hope you enjoy it, but to moderate all this, we've got Arya Yuyutsu, who of course is the clever guy that puts all the editing together of the videos, the graphics, etc. But he's a journalist of the highest quality, so I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Guillem. Yes, this is the GB Transfer Show in association with Football Index, of course. And as you can see, we have 5 topics here that we'll talk about, and 5 transfer stories right now. There's a lot of Arsenal content, so we have with us Arsenal Fan TV's Robbie Lyle. Thank you, Robbie, for joining us. Well, before we actually get down to that list, Robbie, what do Arsenal need right now?
I think we definitely need a centre-back. Now, I don't know who that's going to be. That's the problem. But we definitely need a commanding centre-back. We saw what Liverpool did when they brought in Van Dijk and how it's changed the whole dynamics of their defence. And I think that Arsenal needs the same as well. I think we need a left-back as well and possibly a backup right-back. But we're not going to be able to do all of that in January. But I think for now, definitely 100% we need a centre-back. And even Unai Emery himself has said that. So we need a centre-back, and I think we need a winger as well, you know, somebody who can play out wide. That's another player that we're really lacking at the moment. In a lot of games, we seem to lack width. So it'd be great to get a winger in as well, I think, in this transfer. If we could get those 2 things in this transfer window, I think, you know, that would help us a lot.
Well, let's get down to the list then. First up, Cesc Fabregas. He's leaving Chelsea. It seems very clear that emotional farewell kind of gave it all away. His football index value has also dropped 11% in the last 3 months. He's made just 14 appearances all season at Chelsea. And since Kovacic and Jorginho have come in, he's just made 1 EPL start all season. What's the latest on that, Guillem?
I'll tell you a little story about Cesc Fabregas, now that obviously everything has been confirmed that he's got an agreement with Monaco for 3 years from the summer. Of course, Chelsea wants a replacement before they let him go. But I can tell you that I think he's ready to make that move. It will be important that Monaco do their part as well, because if in the next 4 games, say in the whole of January, Chelsea looking for a replacement, they do not get any victory, the target of staying up is going to be very, very difficult. But in any case, everybody's accepted the rules, and the rules is that Chelsea will look for somebody else for his place. And he's ready now to move on. I knew that he had offers from Italy. I think I've got the impression he's had enough from Italian coaches. But when this opportunity rise, even though people close to him are telling him that he's mental, well, it was a challenge. And that's, you know, for somebody that came to England when he was 16, challenges he's not afraid of. Actually, somebody asked me on Twitter who was the best Spanish player in the Premier League. And I said, David Silva, without thinking much. And then I started thinking, I thought, actually, somebody who's played for 13 seasons in England, 3 Premier Leagues, won the FA Cup as well, and has done it both at Arsenal and Chelsea, should be actually perhaps considered the best Spanish player in the Premier League, added to the fact that he has given 30 more assists than any other player that is playing in the Premier League right now, and that he reached the 100 assists earlier than Lampard, Ryan Giggs, and Rooney. So you're talking about somebody who is a legend of the Premier League. I agree, perhaps not the biggest legend of Arsenal or Chelsea, but certainly a big legend in the Premier League is about to leave.
Next up is Adrien Rabiot of PSG. He looks set to leave for free this summer. Barcelona looks the likeliest of destinations. His football index value has surprisingly dropped 17% in the last 3 months, but he remains a really promising holding midfielder. Guillem, is that deal already done? Is he going to be in Barca colours come the summer?
Rabiot is the type of player that Barcelona want, no doubt about that. They have been negotiating it. They have admitted it themselves, Barcelona, in a public note, because they don't want to be called out by PSG saying you negotiated with our guy when you couldn't do that. Well, it is possible to do so, and the conversations continue. I think there is an agreement between Rabiot and Barcelona. 10 million euros he will earn, which puts him in the bracket of the Rakitic. So I think that's, you have Messi ahead of everybody else, and then Rakitic second or third tier. And it's 10 million euros for his mother, who is of course his agent. The thing is, Barcelona, having learned from the experience of Griezmann, in which they thought it was all done, that's what the directors told the players. Now they're not 100% sure that it's as done as they think it may be. They feel that Rabiot's mother is playing with them. The stories out there in the French press that the agreement has taken place. So now it's for anybody else to come in and put more money, perhaps. Juventus, who knows? But Barcelona are confident that it could happen. It's just that they need to cross the line, and they haven't done that yet.
Yeah, he'd be a perfect fit for Arsenal. You know what I mean? And I was hoping that maybe Arsenal might try and see if they could bring in Rabiot. Because for me, if we're getting rid of Aaron Ramsey, Adrien Rabiot would have been perfect for Arsenal. I saw him in pre-season. We played PSG in pre-season over in Singapore, and he looked really a quality player. He's big. He gets around the pitch. He's strong. And also, he's got so much ability, his touch and everything. I think that he's going to be an excellent signing for Barcelona. I think, long term, he could be like the guy who could replace, say, a Busquets or somebody like that. So I think that's a really, really good signing.
Well, number 3 on our list is Denis Suarez. He started off at Man City's academy. He was signed by Barcelona at a young age, and he's never really gotten enough chance to shine. He has played under Emery before, of course, 2 seasons on loan at Sevilla. As part of the exchange deal that saw Rakitic move the other way. Is he really headed to Arsenal?
Denis Suarez wants Arsenal or to stay at Barcelona. But there's a problem with that. Barcelona want to get money for him, and Arsenal are only willing to get him on loan because they've got other priorities. He's not the only name in the list for them. They want a midfielder, yes. They want centre-backs, 1 or 2. So with that in mind, Denis Suarez is not a total priority. But I remember telling a little bit the inside story of what's happening at Arsenal. And people got upset when I said that Aubameyang is not a match winner. He is when he's got the service. Perhaps with the service of Denis Suarez, he will have even a bigger impact. He's not a match winner in the fashion of Hazard or Salah. So that's what I was trying to say. But if the team improves, he will improve. If there is better service, he will improve. Denis Suarez, who hardly played in England, he knows, of course, what it entitles to play for a British club, and he's desperate to leave. He wants to leave. He's got offers from Napoli, Sevilla, Valencia, West Ham, Watford, but they all want him on loan. Barcelona want a decision this week as soon as possible. We'll see if that happens, but at the moment, as I said, the loan deal is something that Barcelona will not accept right now, unless there is an obligation to buy him. So that's where the negotiations are right now.
We haven't really got to see much of Denis Suarez at Barcelona this season at all. He's just had 17 minutes of playing time. Is he a good fit at Arsenal, Robbie?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he looks a very good player. Obviously, he's not getting the playing time at Barcelona. He's not really gone to a club yet that's given him those minutes and said, right, you're the main guy, go and play. So it's hard to tell what he's going to be like. So it's going to be one of them that if he comes in and he was to play really well, he could be a gem that we could... He starts off being like a £20 million player, and you quickly see that he's worth way more than that because he's just not had a chance at Barcelona. So I think it'd be a positive signing for Arsenal if they got him. Obviously, we're going to be losing Ramsey as well. And the other thing about Suarez is that he can play on both. He can play in multiple positions in the midfield. He can play down the middle. He can play right, left. And with Welbeck also going to be going from Arsenal, I think Suarez will be a very, very good signing for Arsenal. So, but yeah, we got this problem where we want him on loan. They want the money for him. I think with Arsenal at the moment, it's the financial fair play regulations. We spend a lot of money on player wages. I think the way we've done transfers over the past few years has been so bad. We've not got money in for players. So we let, guys like Sanchez go for, well, about 20 million, but his true value was way, way more than that. But we made his contract run down. Jack Wilshere went for nothing. Aaron Ramsey's going for nothing. And I think that's all with the old regime. That they really got the transfer policies bad. So we've not had any players of any value, just loads of players on high wages. So I think that's why Arsenal would prefer to bring him in on a loan and then maybe at the end of the season buy him. But we have to wait and see how that goes. But I think he'd be a positive signing for Arsenal.
Next up, we have Isco. An incredibly talented player, and somehow Solari doesn't really seem to want to have him. Maybe, it's time Real Madrid are willing to cash in on him, but the rumors suggest that Florentino Perez might want more than 100 million for him. I don't know what kind of teams would be able to afford that sort of a player right now. Chelsea apparently are favourites in the Sun, from what I've read. There's Man City interested, Juve interested, but that's all according to the rumours. How much of it is true and what's going on?
Isco is an interesting one. Isco doesn't want to leave. It's as simple as that. He's now waiting for Solari to go and see what the next manager thinks of him. That's his plan. He didn't have intention to go. He was not wanted by Manchester City when he was closely linked to them. With Pellegrini, yes, but not with Pep Guardiola. So where does these stories come that Isco would go to here, there, everywhere? It's Real Madrid, it's Isco, it's big clubs in England. And of course, for me, that's one of the dangers of believing all the stories that are out there. The clickbaits, the betting companies that put stories so people bet on it, thinking that it could happen. I'd be fascinated and ask a lot of people in this show what they think of that, because of course makes life much more difficult for journalists that are trying to find the truth. It could be of interest to players if their name are branded out like that, but to be honest, it is becoming easier if you look closely to differentiate what is bite clicking and what is proper stories.
Oh yeah, well, in this country, they bet on everything. So the betting companies jump on it as well. But I think, the betting companies jump on it. But I think it's more the just general football media just love a transfer story. Excuse me. And they love a transfer story. They love when a player's been linked to various different clubs. And we, the football fans, we want to see what's happening. We want to see is there a possibility that this player will be coming to our club. We watch our club week in, week out, and we know what we need. So it's really fascinating for us. And also who's going to be staying, who's going to be leaving. It's really fascinating.
And the final player on the list, of course, is Aaron Ramsey. He looks set to walk away for nothing from Arsenal this summer. Yet another player going for absolutely nothing. What's going on at Arsenal, Robbie?
Again, it's a difficult one. I feel sorry for the manager, Unai Emery, because as I said, I feel that this again is sort of spilt over from the old regime where they didn't handle contracts well enough at Arsenal, and you've allowed a guy like Aaron Ramsey contract to run down. Now, we were apparently going to offer him like a new deal. It was all on the table to be signed, said to be run about £200,000 a week. And then Arsenal then just withdrew that contract. Now, the reasons why I think Arsenal have withdrawn that contract is that they've looked at when the summer comes, at what money they'll have available. And if they give Ramsey that amount of money for his wages, again with the FFP, that's going to limit what they're able to bring in. And I looked at it and said, Aaron Ramsey, the position he plays, we've got Ozil, we've got Mkhitaryan, we got Iwobi, we've got various players who could play in that position. And we need players in other positions. We need wide players, we need defenders, and we need to have that money available for their wages. So the sacrifice has been Aaron Ramsey. But it's disappointing because I think, he's been at a club for a long time. He's won 2 FA Cups with us where he scored goals, the winning goals in one of them. He's been top-class player for Arsenal. Even though he knows he's going at the moment, he's still performing really, really well. And for me, it's the type of player we should be keeping in the team and adding. But as I said, the old regime have allowed his contract to run down. And now he's going to walk away unless he goes this month. he'll probably walk away in the summer. Probably Juventus looks like the place he's going to go for absolutely nothing. And when you think of just to show you how for me, the old regime have handled transfers so badly, you look at somebody like Dominic Solanke, who's just left from Liverpool and gone to Bournemouth for £19 million. And you've got a guy like Aaron Ramsey, who's still at the peak of his powers. He's not too old. I think he's like 27, 28. And he's going to go for nothing. It's absolutely scandalous what's gone on at Arsenal. And basically, we've just stacked up all these players and they've got no value. Jack Wilshere went for nothing, as I said. Alexis next to nothing. Ozil was in the last year of his contract. That's why he was able to negotiate such a big wage. Danny Welbeck, at the end of the season, out of contract, will be leaving for nothing. What has been going on over the years at Arsenal that all these players, Van Persie's contract was in the last year. He left for next to nothing. So it's just been badly run. And I think the only positive thing I can look at is that the new guys that come in look to know what they're doing. They've got Sanelli, who used to be at Barcelona, Mislintat, who spotted lots of great players in his time at Dortmund, and Unai Emery. I think these guys all together, hopefully they'll get our transfer policy back on track. And we can start, we've seen already the players they brought in Torreira, Guendouzi, they're starting to bring in positive signings. But the Ramsey thing has been scandalous. And it's not down to Emery and that, it's down to the old regime of Gazidis, Dick Law, all those people who were involved in transfers before. They have messed up big time.
But of course, because he's free and he's got quality and he's got experience, he's wanted by many others, including 2 Spanish clubs. I think he's said no to one of them, but he's considering the other one, which means that he hasn't taken a decision yet of going to Juventus, who are interested in him too. He's leaving it for a little bit later. But meanwhile, I'll ask which clubs those are. I can't imagine it will be something like Sevilla or Atletico Madrid. It's the kind of quality player that could go to one of those, especially as in both cases, they always look after the money. In the case of Atletico Madrid, they have got such a huge wage bill that if they can get somebody of that caliber with only a sign-in bonus, then they will probably go for that. But I'll inquire some more and I'll let you know when I know.
So that's the 5 done for today. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Robbie, for coming on.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Guillem.
Thank you, Arya. That was it for today. Remember, if you want us to discuss anything, just go on Twitter, #AskGuillem, and then of course we'll try to deal with as many of your questions as possible. There'll be another show on Friday afternoon, evening, and after that another one on Tuesday, and so on. We are preparing a big one for transfer deadline, but meanwhile, remember to subscribe and to tell everybody that we're here doing our best. See you soon.